Well, candles have been lit and flowers laid for the victim who lost his life early Sunday morning. But while the shooting ended here, it began all the way down the street. Have you ever heard police activity or helicopters hovering around and wanting to know what happened? Well, now there's an app for that. Well, this vaccination site is in full swing. For hours, law enforcement has been out searching for a shooting suspect. Take a look behind me. Yes, Carly, the big game is over, so now it's time for the merge. Local company Atlas Embroidery and Screen Printing is responsible for printing tens of thousands of official Super Bowl t-shirts. And I'm here in front of one of their printing press. Their American Bulldog, they call Alpha, was hit multiple times by bullets, causing him to pass away. Take a listen. Again, this video is very graphic.
We hear shots, 5 shots, 5 or 6 shots fired. We're on outside and I see my baby laying on the ground.
A Miami Gardens family is distraught after their 8-month-old American bully named Alpha was shot and killed by a Miami-Dade police officer. And home surveillance cameras captured the moment the officer opened fire.
He was the king of the house. I named him King Alpha. He was the king of my heart. It was everything to me. We did everything together.
The shooting took place about 7 p.m. on January 12th. We're told the officer arrived at the home in an unincorporated area near Miami Gardens after neighbors called the police about dogs barking. The family says the officer knocked on their door and asked for ID, but did not initially disclose why. After a few minutes of back and forth, Ben went to get his ID, and the door was left open. You can see a small dog go outside, followed by the American bully. Moments later, the shots were fired.
It looks like a murder. It's like a murder. He dragged him out, took him outside of my property to kill my dog. Like, it's not like my dog attacked him in front of my house and he went to his car. No, my dog smelled him, smelled his partner, and then he killed him by his car.
In this video, you can see the officer already has his gun drawn as both dogs smell him. Then the dogs go towards the patrol car, and the officer can be seen using his flashlight to get the dog's attention. And the animals move towards the light. The officer can be heard yelling, "Get back!" Then he opens fire. Animal advocate Dahlia Keynes says she believes the lack of training is what caused the shooting.
The dog posed no threat, absolutely no threat. That officer drew his weapon before they even opened the door. The Maltese is the one that slipped out. He could have shot the Maltese too. He was aiming with his gun at both dogs. There has got to be sensitivity training for all police departments.
The Miami-Dade Police Department says they are investigating the incident and says they could not provide any comment or details. In the meantime, the grieving family says they have a lot of questions.
What was the intention? Like, did you come to the house with the intention of doing that? Or because it just didn't make sense for you? The first thing for you to say is, oh, he lunged at me, when he really didn't, because there's proof that he didn't.
Now, once again, we reached out to the Miami-Dade Police Department. They tell us they have launched an internal investigation into this shooting, but would not provide any additional details. They say once that investigation is complete, they'll send out everything they have to let us know exactly what happened from their perspective. In Miami Gardens, Bobeth Yates, CBS 4 News Tonight. Well, Jim and Lauren, scammers are getting creative, coming up with different ways to scam the elderly. And now people are forced to put up signs like this one. This property is not for sale, just to ensure that someone doesn't steal their land.
All started when a realtor approached me to buy it, and I said, I'm not selling it. So I guess he said, you won't sell it, we'll take it.
The lot behind Shirley Gibson has been in her family for more than a century. But in March, someone forged her signature, transferred the property into their name, and then sold it to an investment company.
I'm 86, and I can remember that this lot was in our family. My grandfather purchased it.
But the lot in the historic district of Coconut Grove wasn't one of those she wanted to sell, and she only found out about the fraudulent sale when she went to pay her property taxes. Then she turned to attorney David Winkler, who went to the police.
I said, Miss Gibson, give me all your ID and your credit cards. And of course, she's looking at me funny. I'm like, no, I want to show the officer right from the start, like, this is not your signature.
Winkler says as soon as law enforcement looked at the document, they knew they were fraudulent. At that point, they ran with their investigation.
It felt really good to get that call from the state attorney last night saying, you know, we've made 3 arrests.
They included Otis Lenthan Powell, Vanessa Chang, and Jason Webley Sr. And during the press conference, State Attorney Catherine Fernandez Rundle said Gibson isn't the only senior being victimized.
Financial scams targeting the elderly have been particularly on the rise in the last 3 years. Scammers, they see our mature residents as easy targets.
Rundle added Florida ranks number 2 in the U.S. for scams against the elderly.
Older adults in Florida lose an estimated $13 billion each year to financial scams.
And even though an arrest has been made, Gibson's fight isn't over.
It's a shame that they can take your property from you without paying you illegally, and then you got to go to court to get it back.
Now officials say that they are creating a task force to help with these scams to protect the elderly. And they say if you are or you know someone who is a victim, to contact the police. Live in Miami, Bobeth, CBS 4 News Tonight.